I tried to think of something special for the 100th video of this channel. And I know some people might take stock in the fact that when you get to 100 videos or 200 videos or whatever the case may be, it tends to be supposed to be something special, as a celebration. And I've been trying to think about what to do for this 100th video, but at the end of the day, I just figure I'm gonna do like straight up commentary for Super Mario Brothers for the NES. Not to commemorate. It's just another thing. Like if it's just by chance that it's the 100th video, like I would have done it one way or another. I was actually gonna save this for my 30th birthday, actually, to look back on that and a couple other games that I'd gotten early on. But I figured this time would be a good as any, just to get it out of the way. And the reason I'm calling this a commentary and not necessarily a review is because, the truth of the matter is the game's 25 years old. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that nothing can be said about Super Mario Bros. That hasn't already been said by countless others. It's a game that was responsible for pulling the video game industry in North America out of recession and making it hip again. It's a game that redefined the standards for what a video game should be all about. It's the game that stands the test of time by being a fun, well-designed game for the time and is still fun to play even today. To me, this game's a gold standard in video games. If you wanted to know how to make a good video game, you play this, you see what works, see what doesn't work, and you apply it to your own idea. Not directly. I'm not saying make an exact clone or anything, but there are certain there are elements in the game that work, and it's because of these particular elements. Like the gameplay is fluid, control is simple. It's a straightforward affair, and it's there's something about this game that makes it playable, fun to play, even 25 years after its first inception. And it's one of those games that, quite frankly, you could safely say that everybody's played. It's like Pac-Man or Tetris or like it's one of the few games that you could say that everybody's played. Whether it's on the NES or the Wii Virtual Console or Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, an emulator even. Everybody's played it, and the few people who haven't played it, I'm sorry, quite frankly, they're idiots, because this is a game that everybody should be playing. It's like they should make it a law to play this. I'm really serious there. If you're getting into video games for the first time, this is one of the first games you play. Just saying. So I think it's kind of pointless to do such a review because it's been played so many times and we all know about it. So rather than just try to do a review, I figured just, here's my first time with Super Mario Brothers. And, because my first system wasn't Nintendo. Alright, I wasn't those kids who got Nintendo the first time around. And unlike a lot of people, it wasn't a matter of the first time I saw it, I had to have it. And that wasn't the thing. Because my first console was an Atari 7800. And I enjoyed plenty great games on that 7800. Whether it be games specifically for the console like Galaga or Xevious or Joust, or backwards compatible 2600 games like River Raid, Demon Attack, Tron Deadly Discs. I enjoyed many great games on that 7800. And I remember, I think it was one of my cousins had an NES and he had Super Mario Bros. I went to their house and I was enthralled by the game. I was amazed by what this game could do and what my Atari 7800 couldn't do. Or at least the games I had weren't able to do. But it was never a case, at least with me, it was never a case of, ooh, I gotta have this. It was a case of, alright, I play the game, it's really good, it's really slick, but I'm happy with my 7800. And to a certain extent, my VIC-20. Because I also had a Commodore VIC-20, which is like the low-grade one that came out before the... it's the one that was endorsed by William Shatner, for Christ's sake. But I never had any games for the VIC-20. I mostly made my own little text adventures. But yeah, that first time I saw my cousin's NES, I wasn't really like I liked it, but I wasn't really sold on it. It wasn't until another cousin, I think another cousin or a friend of mine had an NES, and this one came with the Zapper, the light gun. It came with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt on the same cart, and we'd have lots of fun with the Zapper. Blah, blah, blah. Like not only just the game, but it's like when you play Duck Hunt and you pull the trigger, even when you're not aiming at the screen, it does the sound effect. So the whole time we'll just dim this TV down, and you just keep shooting the gun all over the place. And it's like you'd have sound effects with just with the gun alone, and that like you'd have loads of fun with that alone. And whether was because of that or because I played more Mario, it was at that point this had to have an NES. Like get me a fucking Nintendo. And I was like, I didn't say that because I was still a kid then back then. Well, eventually, in a couple of years, around 90 or 91, I got an NES with Super Mario Brothers. No gun, unfortunately. I had to get that separately. And even then, it would be only a few years before I actually did get my hands on a gun. But for the most part, I got myself other games. And eventually, my birthdays that year, I also got 4 other games. Super Mario 3, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, the first Ninja Turtles game, and The Punisher. It's what I like to refer to as my original 5 on the NES. And since that was so bad. I'm trying to run it. Apparently, I forgot to run. I pulled this out from one of my DVD archives because I do DVD runs and I put them on DVD. Record them on DVD. I keep an archive for occasions like this. I didn't look at my footage beforehand, but I just noticed it just said Super Mario Brothers in 10 minutes, so I just went with it. I didn't think it was that bad. I never said it was me. That bad. I'm getting off track here. Yeah. So this was like it took me a couple tugs, but I eventually got Super Mario Brothers, and eventually that's what started me on this journey. And eventually, I would get this version on the Game Boy Advance. It's actually one of the first games I got for the GBA when I got that handheld in 2003. Which is funny because most people would want to get the game for the killer apps on the GBA. I got this because I wanted to play 8-bit Nintendo on my Game Boy. And that's the only reason I got the console. So, I don't know. But yeah, eventually, yeah. And it was like, it's one of the games that like I like to go back to every now and then. It's like the funny thing is that it's always a game that you could get back to and you could always have a good time. And just this past year or two ago, I actually played through the entire game for the first time in like years, and actually sat through the whole game for the first time because ever since now it's almost like commonplace to like go with the warp zones and stuff like that, and that was such a fail. Yeah, but now we just go with the warp zones, and that's like apparently the game. It's like a friend of mine actually, I remember one time a friend of mine played Super Mario for the first time and was playing through the game. He said I could beat the game in like 5 minutes. Oh really? The whole game? Yeah, the whole game. Oh cool. So show me, because I need to know. I need to learn from the best here. So he plays through the game and he beats. He uses the warp zones, and I'm like, dude, I thought you said you could beat the whole game in 5 minutes. Yeah, I could beat the whole game in 5 minutes. You ever consider going through the whole game, all 32 levels, all 8 worlds? That's like, wait, there's more levels? And I think that's really the sad thing, because everybody knows about the warp zone. It's not even a secret. Now it's the other way around. It's like there's a whole bunch of secret levels. There's like 20 more levels in this game. Because you're only playing like what is it? Eight levels total? 1-1, 1-2, 4-1, 4-2, 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4. Yeah, pretty much, huh? Yeah, go figure. So yeah, I actually played through the whole game for the first time in years. Beat it, and I had a good time with it. It took me roughly 40 minutes. As a matter of fact, I actually have the run on YouTube. The Super Mario Bros. Casual playthrough. That's the run of the whole game. I don't remember it enough to do a full commentary on it, but yeah, I played the game played through the whole game. I had a ball, and I fucked up badly there. Usually that marks the end of the game for me. If I don't get past that hammer brother, I'm never gonna get anywhere. I usually just give up. But anyways, okay, so we have a chance, and the biggest fluke ever, but we made it. Well, that concludes my commentary on the original Super Mario Bros. And my personal reflection on the first time I played it. And I certainly thank you for your diligence and your patience in hearing me ramble, at times incoherently, about this 25-year-old ancient video game that has stood the test of time and is still a fun game to play even 25 years after its initial inception, or well over 25 years after its initial inception. So that's it for me. You're free to go, unless you click the back button, in which point you're not even listening. So, but in the event you are, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time, maybe, and take care. Have a good day.